Esperanza 243. You are here to watch and or listen to me read a book out loud. It is a personal book, actually, called Aquatica. This is part 3. I believe in part 2, we got to see how Marion is reacting to moving to Virginia, as well as Garnette, and they find out that they are home alone. Their Marion's mom is not there, and the van that Marion was supposed to drive to Virginia is not there either. And I ended part 2 with Marion talking to her mom. And that's where I'm going to start. Hello? Mom, where are you? I completely forgot about the van. It's not even in the garage. What's going on? Oh dear, you're still at home? You need to be at the airport. Marion was about to talk, but her mom continued. Use my plane ticket, dear. I won't be able to come with you. What? What's going on? Where are you? Calm down, dear. I'm actually going on a trip of my own. One of my clients needs my help. They're moving too, and need someone to drive a vehicle out to where they live. I'm sorry, Mary, but I have to get off. I'm driving right now, and I don't want to get pulled over for talking on the phone. Get to the airport now, before you run out of time. I love you. Her mother hung up the phone. Marion groaned in frustration and lied down on her unmade bed. This is what I get for renting a room in my family's house. Ugh, this is so not right, she muttered. She grabbed her suitcase. Wait, where's my other suitcase? Garnette, where are you? Her little cousin wasn't in the room either. I can't find your other suitcase. It's missing. Someone must have made room in the van and put it in. Do you think? Garnette said, entering the room. I don't know what to think. Come on, we need to hurry. Can't I call Patrick and let him talk to you? Garnette, stop putting this off. I thought you wanted to go. Get your suitcase and handbag. We need to be leaving. All right, let me get Mom. She started to leave the room. Mom's not here. I just called her and found out she's helping one of her clients move. I guess it was last minute or something. Last minute, huh? Garnette thought to herself. Mom must be driving the van to Virginia. That would explain why her car is still here. Within 20 minutes, they arrived at the airport on time. The two cousins hurried off to the gate they were supposed to find. They had 20 minutes to spare until the plane had to leave. Marion decided to buy a few postcards so she could send them while she was in school. She went back to the gate and sat next to her cousin. Are you excited, Marion? I am. I'm glad I listened to Mom. Living close to the school is a better idea than staying in a dorm. The rent is cheaper that way. Oh, come on. Being in a cooking school will be fun. You get to eat what you cook. Heck, the only homework you'll get is studying the recipes. Marion laughed. Nettie, cooking school is not all about learning recipes. You have to follow rules. And I'm sure I won't be able to eat all of the food I'll be cooking. Oh, are you still taking swimming lessons in high school? Garnette nodded with a smile. Yep, in fact, tryouts for the swim team are coming up in a month or 2. Her eyes gleamed. I'm so excited. This is my 2nd season for the high school swim team. This time, we're going to state competition. I can feel it. She could feel the adrenaline rushing already. Marion laughed, loving the passion they both had for different things. All of a sudden, someone spoke on the intercom, saying their plane was now boarding. They squealed as they got in line with their carry-on bags. "Virginia, here we come!" the two cousins exclaimed at the same time. They boarded the plane. Within hours, they were going to be on the beach and soak in the sun. Just thinking about it made them even more excited. Garnette was practicing different strokes in a pool. She made sure to take a break after finishing each one. After 200 meters of breast and butterfly strokes, she decided to relax and swam with her arms and hips, keeping her legs and ankles together. Watching her swim like that would make someone think she was, well, a mermaid. Almost. Someone opened a door and entered the pool area. She surfaced from being underwater. After hearing footsteps, she turned and saw a man walking to a table and sitting down. She smiled to greet him. "Hello, sir. Good day, isn't it?" "It is a good day. The sun is out, the birds are chirping. It's a nice day to swim." She nodded and agreed. "It would be even better to swim in the ocean." He smiled. "Do you like swimming in the ocean?" "I love being in the ocean. It feels so good. Every time I'm in the ocean, I feel like it's part of me and I'm a part of it." He raised his brows in fascination. She smiled and dived into the water like a mermaid. She stayed underwater as long as she could, just swimming her mermaid-like swim. She surfaced near the shallow end. "You sure do love the water, don't you?" "I sure do." She looked around. "People think I'm weird, but I've been eating salt since I was 5. I'm even used to drinking salt water." "Salt water is bad for you. Are you drinking it from the ocean?" "No, I just use salt and mix it with water." "You're a brave girl to do that." The next second, they heard knocking at the pool entrance. They looked at the door. Garnette smiled as she recognized Marion at the door. She got out of the pool to open the door for her. "Hey, Garnette, decided to swim without me?" Garnette smiled as well. "Hey, you're just in time. I was about to go to the beach." Her cousin widened her eyes as Nettie grabbed a towel. "Gee, when you and Mom rent a spot in a hotel, you guys sure don't let me swim in the pool. How am I supposed to cook with a sunburn?" Garnette dried herself off as she replied, "Oh, come on. You always lather yourself with sunscreen. You'll live." Then she grabbed her stuff and headed out. "Come on, the ocean awaits us." She giggled. Marion laughed. "No, the ocean awaits you," she said as they walked off. "You're the life of the party, little mermaid." It didn't take long to find their mother. Soon after that, they headed to the beach. Garnette and her cousin were playing in the ocean. Kaylee Tarleton, Marion's mom, was lying down on a beach towel under a big umbrella, admiring a shell. Nettie had found several shells to add to her collection and placed them in her family's area. She and her cousin laughed and splashed each other in the shallow parts of the ocean. Then they raced each other against the current. Marion coughed after a certain point. She kept opening her mouth to breathe, but salt water would come in. She stopped and had to tread water to stay afloat. "Garnette, I can't go any farther. You win." "Go ahead and go back. I want to see how far I can go," Garnette called back. "Nettie, come back!" She tried swimming further, but the same thing happened. Salt water would come into Marian's mouth as she breathed. She looked back and forth from her little cousin to the beach. Sighing with guilt, she swam back. In the meanwhile, Garnette was going far. She even beat her record without knowing it. She already went over 1 nautical mile away from the beach. Her legs already ached with pain, from muscles and coldness. She decided to swim mermaid style and continued swimming. That was when she began to feel different. Her wrists started to itch. She opened her eyes. They didn't burn anymore. She opened her eyes. They didn't burn anymore. She could see clearly underwater. She could almost feel herself absorbing the salt water. Garnette could feel her legs combining as one. She didn't have to swim as hard against the current. Her legs not only were one, they had scales and a fin. Was that possible? After a while, she was worried and stopped swimming. She didn't know how far she went. She looked back towards the shore. Her eyes widened at the distance. Wow! How could I swim that far and not feel the cold? She wondered. She dived into the ocean and swam back to the shore. She was there in a matter of minutes. She sat on the sand in the shallow part of the ocean. Well, she at least tried to sit. She didn't bother to see why she had difficulty. That was fast, she thought. She looked around the beach. People suddenly swarmed around her, staring at her and whispering. She wasn't sure why they were making such a fuss. She couldn't find her family. Marian! Mom! Where are you? Marian heard her. Mom! She's over here! Marian cried out. Their mother rushed, and they both went toward a big crowd of people. What's going on? Why is everyone over here? She shoved through the people. When she got through and looked at her little cousin, she gasped. Garnette, look at you, she whispered, almost horrified. Their mother broke through the crowd. She gasped as well. Garnette looked at her legs. She gasped at the sight because she didn't have legs. Instead, she had a long, scaly tail with fins. It had that frothy, shiny look, the silk white color close to her belly, and grayish blue. She looked at her wrists. Well, it looked like some sort of additional fins, as if they were pectoral fins. She couldn't figure out whether to be happy or sad. She looked at her aunt. Was I adopted? Keely gasped and kneeled down. Sweetheart, you were not adopted. Don't you ever think that. She hugged her. I love you. I always have. I knew she was more than unique the day she was born. Her aunt thought. I didn't realize it would be this. The question is this what you want? Marian moved closer to her and her little cousin. She was on the verge of crying. Their mom stood and wrapped her arm around her eldest daughter, her only daughter. Garnette didn't know what to think. Her eyes filled with tears. I don't know, Tears fell down her cheeks. One of the tears landed on her lip. She looked it off and widened her eyes. What's happening to me? She covered her eyes to cry and swam off somewhere to hide. Garnette! Her cousin cried, about to run after her. Tears fell down her cheeks. Kaylee held her tight. I don't understand. Let her go, dear. I think she wants to gather her thoughts. Everyone around them had wide eyes. She looked at them. Some of the people stared at her and her daughter. We should go, Marion. Soon, Marion and her mother went back to the hotel. She was upset and worried that she didn't feel like driving to her new apartment. She fell asleep on her cousin's side of the hotel room. Kaylee sat in a chair, looking at Garnette's new shells for her collection. That was when one of the shells started to... Was it vibrating? She stared at the shell. Kaylee didn't know what to do, but she ended up slowly taking the shell. She placed it close to her ear. That made her able to understand part of the noises. It sounded like someone hiccuping every few seconds. Kaylee gasped as she heard words coming from the shell. Why? Why, Mom? She could barely hear, but she knew those were the words. Oh my gosh. The hiccuping slowed down. Hello? She heard. Is someone there? Kaylee's eyes widened. Hello? She said carefully. Can you hear me? And that's where I'm going to stop. My, oh my. I definitely got to read more than last time. Yay! In part 4, we will find out why Garnette became a mermaid. Very interesting. By the way, I want to thank you all for coming to the Twitch event. I know not very many people came, but it still meant something to me. Thank you so much, and I hope next year I will do it for a charity event and not just a practice, you know. So, until part 4, this is the Esperanza 2 for 3, signing out.